Goeiedag and welcome. My name is Amarinske and today I am drawing a Bookish InkTober drawing again. This time I am not following the prompts of Inktober because I had an idea hanging around in my head for a while now and I wanted to try and draw a chibi. This chibi in particular is inspired by a cosplay of a friend of mine. He made up several of his own characters and cosplays them. This one is a chibi version of Ian Chu, and let's just look at how it comes out. It's not a full representation of the clothing he actually wears when he does the cosplay, especially since he is changing up his costume a little bit. But hey, these were the colors that worked for me because I have them at home. And the bookish part of this video will be a book review of J.D. Estrada's book Only Human that I recently finished, and with recently I mean about 1 or 2 days ago now. Man, that book is so good. It's a paranormal fantasy, but very creative. And very, very well done. And despite the fact that there is a couple of minor grammatical errors in the beginning, I forgot that when I went on reading. It's so enthralling, it totally sucks you in. And the book has not one specific setting. We travel across the world, and what I found incredibly well done is you get a very, very distinct meaning of what the title means, but also some philosophical implications that come with it. Not solely as a human in comparison to the paranormal creatures in this book, but just in normal everyday life. There was stuff in here that made me think. The writing style is gorgeous. You can definitely see in the writing that our dear J.D. Estrada is a poet. Because even though this book is a fantasy, there is not a lot of clear-cut magic in here. Most of what is clear-cut is like 3 or 4 spells, and they are more like chants. They are very poetic, they rhyme, they have a lyrical undertone. They are sometimes so long that they seem like short poems, which I do love, but even in the regular storytelling times, there is some very, very, very gorgeous, almost poetic writing in the book that I really love. It's not overdone, it's very subtle, and I just think it's well done. I think this book could be on almost next to Patrick Rothfuss's The Name of the Wind. If you compare the writing styles, and they are both very, very poetic. I honestly think this story was a better story, and this might be because I haven't read Patrick Rothfuss in a long time, but I love, love, love his books. But definitely this one book is one of the best books I have read in my life. And I am very, very cautious with saying that about fantasy because normally I have those feelings about literary fiction when I read it. But this was just so amazing. When I was reading it, I was discussing and chatting a little bit about it with the author, who is, by the way, a very, very, very kind guy. We became friends because of BookTube here, and it has been a lot of fun. But yeah, some of the characters turn out to be very, very trusting, especially in the beginning of the books. And not that it is a bad thing necessarily, except for in the case of this story, where it might have cost them their lives if it wasn't just a trial of some other characters. And one character, our main character, Nathaniel Runnels, He grows so much. Sorry for the coughing, by the way. You can definitely hear that my voice is not back to the way it was before. And this has to do with the virus, I think, that caused my cold, but has not fully receded from my throat yet, which I hate. Anywho, the book was great. I loved it. I loved the way the characters are developed. I love the way that most of the setting just gets enough description for you if you have traveled a little bit to different kinds of climates and places in the world, that you can envision what it looks like, because it is just your regular everyday setting. But also part of it we have in the Fin du Monde, which was a new name for a place with the most genius pun of a name, the beginning of time. It is a place where you are outside of the regular time, in the way that time just... I don't know yet. It felt like time just did not go by in our real world when you were in the cafe. Or maybe it depends on the people who are in there. I'm actually curious to see how the thing works, but it had some quite almost magical realism-like descriptions. Then we have things like Raylis, which is the place where 3 people live. It definitely feels like a forest, a little bit like a magical forest, which was amazingly done, but not overdone. But I can't help but think, Raylis is situated in Ethiopia, but Ethiopia is a place of deserts. So you need to have quite a big load of water to sustain a whole lot of rainforest. And I don't know where exactly in Ethiopia that would be. I can look it up, but then again, it's a fantasy book. It does not have to be exactly correct with reality in any case. What I also liked is the description of our Black Calico, the pirate ship that races across the Atlantic in, I thought it was about a week, maybe a little bit more, when it normally takes months for normal boats to do the same. The Calico travels within a couple of days from Spain or France, I thought, to Ethiopia. The thing goes very, very quick, but we also, on that boat, we travel across the world. We start at a Halo maze, which is somewhere in the USA. I forgot the place exactly where it is situated, but I also have a feeling it doesn't necessarily matter for the storyline. Then we go to Europe. Le Fin du Monde is situated in France, where we go with vampires and human to visit werewolves. And then we go on to, I believe, Crete in Greece, but I'm not sure, to visit the Archangel, that I cannot come up with a name of it out of the top of my head. We go on to Ethiopia, then we go on to Southeast Asia, all over the waters. And some mystical things happen, which was really well done. We visit Raylis, which is a tree people's place to live, but we also visit Purgatory, which honestly was not expected at all by me, and I'm not going to spoil it all how it happens, because how it happens already was like, it felt a little bit like a twist. It was definitely not expected. Like, a lot of the stuff that happens, you either don't expect it or you see it coming, but the way it turns out is so much different than what you would normally expect, and sometimes it isn't, which is what made it book fun to read. Like I said, it is so creative, it has beautiful writing style, and all kinds of like paranormal creatures live in this world. We have vampires, we have werewolves, we have the kitsune. I don't know what animals they turn into, but it's humans that turn into animals, like were animals, basically. And I don't know which animals. I think wolves, but I'm not sure. And then we have the Wendigo from Canada, and some other werewolfy type characters, or foxes from somewhere. It's just very well looked at, especially since we also come across demons, and in some way celestial bodies with a soul, but also God in a way, because God exists in an almost when needed human-like or animal-like existence. But we also have angels, fallen and non-fallen. And I would not be surprised if there were even more paranormal creatures worked into the next books. I, of course, don't know. The second book has come out already. But since I cannot buy stuff on Amazon, I have had no chance to check it out at all. It's not that I cannot afford it. It's that I literally cannot buy anything on Amazon, no matter for what reason. But I definitely do want to read the next one, and I don't know when the third one will be released. But it doesn't matter as long as I haven't read the second one yet. This was my review of the book Only Human by J.D. Estrada. I hope you liked listening to my review and also watching to me drawing a pirate, which in some strange way does fit this book, because a lot of it takes place on a black calico, which is a pirate ship. Anywho, also the corsairs or pirates on the ship have not that much page space of development, at least not all of the characters, but still, in a very clever way, they were all given a backstory that is been told in one go, but it also encompasses a lot of different things. That is also something that was very cleverly done, because the characters need a reason why they joined a pirate ship. And they need like a reason to still be there. And there needs to be a reason for what happens. And all those things, either you get them throughout the story because of the story progress, but like the backstory of the corsairs, that one you got like maybe one or a couple of paragraphs and I can have a completely messed up sense of how long it was. But it was very well done in a relatively short space of pages. And I am actually curious what the time was that went on in this book, because due to things like the fan demand, but also the travels on the black calico, it became so incredibly hazy how much time actually goes by, because we also have dream visions that take up page space in the book, but you have no clue how long the main character actually sleeps when he has the visions. So you still have no clue how much time goes by, and sometimes the character does ask and you get a sense of the time passed, but that does not always happen, and it's not always important. But I'm just always curious over what time the story takes place. Was it 2 weeks, 2 months, or a year, or something like that? Anywho, here is the end of my drawing. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, drop a like, maybe subscribe. Thank you for watching and on door keer!